So for the first time in a hot minute, I finally have some exciting gaming world news to share with you all today, as it has a lot to do with a brand new independent game called Mecha Break. If you have not heard of it, it is a third-person mecha shooter, a game very similar to Armored Core 6. If you've played the From Software Armored Core series and you know exactly what I'm talking about, I would say that this game is very like the sixth one, the most recent one that I have actually clocked about 100 hours into. I really love mechas. I've grown up with mechas, watching Gundam and Evangelion and other anime shows, as well as just old Japanese shows and other kaiju movies that have giant robots and mechas. I've always enjoyed those kinds of shows and movies, and so I love games like these. And I wanted to get my viewers excited about something because all I've been bringing lately is bad news. Well, the good news about this game is that it has hit the ground running with its playtest beta that is actually running until August 13th. But I wanted to show you guys some gameplay here, because what Mecha Break does is three very important things. The first is that Amazing Seasun Games has focused on their player base. They want to make a very exciting game, and that has been their focus. Two, not only does it look great, but it looks like their developers are very based as well, as we will get into a couple of things with American voice actors not wanting to do work for this developer because of fan service. It's going to be hilarious to go over. And the third thing, as well as my most favorite thing, is that it is crushing Concord in the beta player numbers, and we're going to go over those as well. So let's check out some gameplay here so that you guys can get excited about this game. If you're interested in mecha games, this one looks like a lot of fun, and it is currently taking requests to participate in the player beta. So check this out, man. This reminds me so much of Armored Core 6. Yeah, this is awesome, dude. And they have multiplayer modes, various types, and different robots and characters that you can customize. Yeah, this is looking sick. This guy said that I can't explain how incredible Mecha Break feels. I literally haven't been all in on a game just from movement alone since the first time I tried Gun Evo. Look at this, just look at this, he says. Has almost 500,000 views, getting a lot of attention. This developer has hit the ground running, as I have said, and a lot of people are taking notice of its progress with players. If you read this post from Manga Lawyer, he dips into this information a little bit more. Mecha Break beta. It came out of nowhere with minimal advertising compared to AAA billion-dollar companies. Remember that Concord and other games like it have Sony and Microsoft behind them, and they're pushing marketing out for these games every single day, and they're also pushing out side content to try and pump up those numbers and get people interested in the characters and the story, and it's still not getting the numbers that this game that barely has anything going for it is getting. He says it has already outperformed Concord, the last PlayStation game, despite the latter's hundreds of sponsored articles, paid YouTubers, and general advertising. That is true. The media has been all in on trying to defend and prop up Concord, despite the fact that barely any people have played it. And we go into this a little bit more by taking a look at Mecha Break's profile. So, produced by Amazing Seasun Games, Mecha Break is a multiplayer mech combat game set in a futuristic sci-fi realm. Coming to PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, I honestly feel like these guys aren't getting enough attention. They should be getting thousands of likes, hundreds of thousands of views, because this game is a lot of fun from what I hear. Players are very much enjoying it, and there are a lot of people playing it, as I'm going to show you in just a minute, but they definitely need more attention, because games like Concord, crap Overwatch copycat paste games like that, are getting all of the big corporations' attention and the media's attention as well, while these amazing games from China, Korea, and Japan are coming out, getting all of the players' attention, but none of the media screen time that they need. And I'm pretty sure there's a reason for that, because this game reminds a lot of people of Stellar Blade, which of course the media, especially Kotaku and IGN and other outlets like it, are completely against, if it's not Baldur's Gate 3 or Hades 2. And I've got some more gameplay to show you guys right here. Check this out, man. Dude's just stomping this guy. And there are a lot of execution styles from what I hear. You can customize your mechs in different ways. I've got some screenshots to show you guys about the customization, not just for the mechs, but as you can see here, the female characters in this game are highly customizable as well. And this is something that the West is trying to get rid of, all right? If you don't like butts and chests flashing in your face, that's completely fine. Not everybody is about that. But what this customization does is give players the actual freedom to make those choices rather than limiting their choices choices strictly for an ideology that nobody is supporting except for Vanguard and BlackRock, which, by the way, took a few hits financially recently. Very happy to hear about that. But anyway, let's stay on topic. You can already tell from the images here that this is not from a Western developer. This is from an Asian developer. It's really hilarious how beautiful women are now automatically associated with Korean, Japanese, and Chinese developers now, and not Western developers, because those dudes have embraced DEI and ESG completely and pushed down guidelines to make their characters intentionally ugly. It's really insane what they are doing. But these are the comparisons that players are always making, as you can see from this post on Learning the Law. In addition to the original, meanwhile, Japanese ESG companies, no, please, Larry-san, give us a higher score. We'll make all the Type A and B games that you want. Diversity and inclusion announcement regarding new game joint development by Koei Tecmo Games and Akatsuki Games Incorporated. Japan isn't perfect, man. China isn't perfect, and neither is Korea. But what you can see by looking at the games that are being developed across the sea right now, they are looking a lot more fun and player-friendly than these are. And it's unfortunate that DEI is slowly creeping its way overseas, but that's something that we have to deal with and point out now, because it's growing. Unfortunately, the games that are promoting that kind of ideology are not growing, which is what we're going to get into after we take a look at some of these awesome mech designs from the game. All right, so I've got these images here. You can customize the mechas, and you can even have your mecha look like a male or a female mecha, and even the female mechas look awesome. This is pretty epic customization. I'm one of those people who love to customize characters. You have to understand that the Souls franchise has done that to me. I've spent hours and hours customizing characters in those games and other games, and giving us that freedom is something that gamers really appreciate, especially when you have a customizable mecha that you can take into battle. From what I hear, you can have huge multiplayer scenarios in this game. There's apparently a special third mode that has not been announced yet, but it's supposed to have a lot of people on one team versus another huge team. It's a rumor. I haven't heard exactly what that special mode is yet, but I'm sure we'll find out. And those are some of the things that you can do in this game as far as customization, all right? And don't worry if you're one of those people who hate beautiful women. If you absolutely hate the idea of a beautiful woman being played in a video game, you can also play as a dude. And you can even make your characters ugly if you want. Look at this one right here. It's amazing. Oh man. See, that's the kind of player freedom that everybody is asking for, all right? You can have the most beautiful female characters in the world if you want to in this game, or you can make them look like a DEI hire. The choice is 100% yours. And by the way, I have to admit, this is one of the most grotesque creations I've ever seen, and I've watched a lot of people intentionally botch their character designs in Souls games, so this is pretty intense. Which brings us to the website of Amazing Seasun Games. These guys are based in China, and they have Mecha Break on their front page, which is doing very well on Steam, which is what we're about to see in a second. But they also have two other projects. One that they got really popular with was JX3 Online. Pretty sure that that's a mobile game. They are very independent. From what I understand, they're not quite AAA. Oh, and one of my favorite things to read on their front page was their About Us section, which you guys have to hear for yourselves. It begins with creating happiness, spreading happiness, and sharing happiness. How hard is it to give people such a simple thing as happiness? It says, founded in 1995, Amazing Seasun Games is a subsidiary of Kingsoft Corporation and one of China's first gaming companies. So they're one of the first of their kind, with over 2,000 employees in Zhuhai, Chengdu, Beijing, Shanghai, and Silicon Valley. The company emphasizes independent R&D and uses its proprietary 3D game engine. Amazing Seasun Games develops titles for PC single-player games, PC online games, and mobile devices, and has independent publishing capabilities. Best known for the JX Online series, which boasts over 4 million monthly active players in Asia, so they are really popular in Asia right now. The company is dedicated to bringing the joy of gaming to players worldwide. That is a description of a gaming company that I have not seen on other gaming websites lately. A lot of them preach diversity and shove a bunch of pride flags into your faces. If you've seen my previous videos and the websites I have gone to, you will see that diversity, equity, inclusion, and LGBTQ+ is always front and center, with gaming, enjoyment, fun, and customer respect taking a very, very long back seat. But they have have become very popular over the years. And now that they have Mecha Break becoming so popular, they also have another game in development. I'm not sure if it's released yet, but it's called Snowbreak. And Snowbreak has already had its share of controversy, even after only being announced. As you can see from Learning the Law, he touches upon some of the friction that is being harbored by Western voice actors. Snowbreak Containment Zone, same developers as Mecha Break, Western voice actor refuses to work with the developers due to fan service. Shortly after, the developers claim, "We know our players' needs." Wow, this might seem like a based Japanese company. No, it's China. Already, the West has eyes for this game, and the eyes are full of fire and fury, and so they're doing everything that they can to speak out against the game, all right? If you have a beautiful woman in this game, you're going to get pushback from Western voice actors, from other game developers that are jealous of these game developers that are making far much more money and having far more players play their games. And you're also going to have the media in their majesty finding ways to smear these developers. I bet that this is going to happen. I can almost guarantee it. When the game releases, you can bet that the media is going to be on fire, and they're going to find ways to criticize this game while also praising it. IGN has already done that. As you can see from this article that they wrote, they said Mecha Break is like a multiplayer mecha anime brought to life. They have to praise it because it is an awesome game. I've already signed up for the beta. If you guys have not done so, you should totally sign up. There are 5 or so days left of this beta. You might see me in there. Send me a comment if you did sign up and get access to the beta. We'll see if that happens for me, and maybe we can link up and play some of this game together. But developer Amazing Season hasn't discussed this mysterious third mode. Of course, I mentioned this a minute ago. Beyond describing it as a PvPvE experience that's similar to a battle royale. Dude, that sounds so sick. And IGN finishes with, "I came away from the closed alpha and the interview for Mecha Break wanting more thanks to the fun, dazzling mech action at its core, but I also came away excited and curious to learn more about its third, large-scale multiplayer mode. Here's hoping we won't have to wait too long to see what it's all about." I can't imagine how cool it will be to have like 20 or 30 mechas fighting each other in a giant open space. That's kind of what I've always wanted in a mecha game. I've always wanted a Gundam game specifically to have that kind of multiplayer mode in it, but that game has not come along just yet. Maybe this one will fill that need for gamers. From the looks of things, it already appears to be well on its way. As you can see on Twitch, Mecha Break has 6.7 thousand viewers right now. The people are playing the beta, and from what I can see, a lot of them are VTubers, which is pretty epic. So there is a growing fan base for this game. They have 7.8 thousand followers, and just in case you are curious, yes, this is completely crushing Concord's beta numbers, because if you go over to their page, oh my goodness, not even half of what the aforementioned indie game has going for it. Concord only has 2.1 thousand followers with one person streaming it with 4 viewers. And some people are going to be like, well, Dread, the beta's over now. You can't just sit there and spread misinformation and lie to your viewers like this. Well, hey, let's take a look at the Steam charts, all right? What is the all-time peak for Mecha Break right now? Again, this beta has only been out for a couple of days. It's already peaked at 10,344 players, all right? Just keep in mind that Concord not only had a closed beta, but an open beta as well, and they could not get even close to these numbers. Currently, the people playing right now already double the all-time peak of Concord's beta numbers. 5,645 people playing an hour ago. And as you can see from the chart, it looks like the player count is getting even higher as it goes on. So judging from what Steam and from what X and from what Twitch are telling us, this game is well on its way to success, unlike Concord. Concord only peaked at like 2,000 or 3,000 something. I have this post here from Maro NL. The first day of the Concord open beta peaked at 2,388 players on Steam. Okay, that was on the first day. I'm pretty sure they peaked at like 3,500 or something. I tried to look it up on Steam charts, but there's an error and I can't look at it right now. Oh well. But these are the numbers that Concord was getting, all right? This was a DEI-fueled game, all right? The robot has pronouns. All the other characters have pronouns. They just released a cutscene for the game today because they're doing like a weekly cutscene comic panel type deal to introduce people to the characters and their backstories, and I've already seen some very cringe dialogue that I don't even have the heart to go over right now, but yeah, This game is not doing well with players, all right? People are not tuning in for it, even when it's an open beta, and yet the other game is doing so incredibly well with no signs of slowing down. Yet on the other end, for Sony, all right, one of the biggest publishers in the world, cannot get people interested in this game, no matter how hard they try. In fact, for the open beta, something that is more easily accessible than the people who pre-ordered the game and had PlayStation Plus, the open beta still managed to have even less players when the open beta dropped, which is one of the most insane things I have ever heard come out of the gaming industry. So report, Concord open beta player count declined by 8% on PlayStation compared to its early access beta. So a PlayStation exclusive with an open beta had an 8% decline versus their closed beta that was actually hard to access. How does that even make any sense? This is from That Park Place, by the way. A new report claims the Firewalk Studios Concord open beta had 8% less players than its early access beta on PlayStation. Kess Eilers Stevenson at True Trophies reports that the open beta, which ran from July 18th to the 21st, had 8% less players than the much more restricted early access beta. Firewalk Studios initially limited the early access beta to those that pre-ordered the game. However, it opened it up to PlayStation Plus subscribers. Nevertheless, the open beta was available and still failed. Stevenson wrote that using a gameplay data sample from over 3.1 million active PSN accounts, courtesy of our partnership with Game Insights, we can see that Concord has 8.1% fewer players in the second open beta than in the early access beta. So what does that tell us? Well, it tells us that Asia knows its market. It knows what gamers want, and it is trying to provide that. The West is dropping the ball, evidently on purpose. Everything that I see coming out of this DEI push seems very forced, and it is being commanded by the powers that be to be shoved down our throats, while Korea, Japan, and China are doing their darndest to just make games that are appealing to gamers, not trying to undermine and demoralize the male audience that they have, but instead trying to appeal to them and make them happy and give them an exciting game to play. I'm super thrilled about this, man. A mecha game with a possible battle royale mode? Dude, that's sick. I feel like that's one of the only types of game that should have a battle royale mode, and we're about to get it, and you can play the beta right now. But for Concord, dude, the media is trying to praise this game. They're trying to shill for it, defend it, and it is still doing horribly, even when it's being pushed out by Sony, even when it's put on the front page of their PlayStation State of Play as a main prioritized feature. Yet these Chinese developers, who should by all accounts not be all that well known, have hit the ground sprinting towards success. They had minimal marketing. How in the world did word of mouth get out about this game? Well, I suppose it must be a lot of fun. And when something is a lot of fun and a lot of people enjoy it, they start talking to their friends about it. And that is what you see here. Gamers being interested in one game and not the other. The question is, how is the media and the game developers who are against actually fun video games, how is their reaction going to be when this game releases and if it succeeds? I assume that the media is going to have a mental meltdown. They're just going to freak out, run around in circles in their offices, and write the most smeary articles you have ever seen. It is something that we have seen prominent as of late when it comes to games like Stellar Blade, Lollipop Chainsaw, anything that comes out of Korea and Japan nowadays, or China for that matter, Black Myth Wukong, for example. They're going to attack it because that is what they do. And again, the beta ends Saturday, August 10th until Tuesday, August 13th. This game's coming out soon, guys, and I'm pretty thrilled about it. There are a couple of other games that I'm super excited about that I'm wary of, though. I think the biggest game that I am prancing around right now is Space Marine 2, but Pirate Nation does have something to say about it. He says in this post that I will slowly scroll down if you want to pause the video and read it. He says that the graphics are pretty insane. The gameplay is pretty insane. There are multiple modes to enjoy and explore. This game did leak, but I haven't showed any footage about it because I actually care about this game's success if it is of quality and not just a DEI woke fest. I have no idea if this game has woke stuff in it, if it has any DEI or ESG aspects, but from what I can tell so far, nobody has said anything particularly negative pertaining to that kind of problem. So we'll see if this game is really all that it's cracked up to be, despite one of its senior lead writers being one of those trans ideologues, and I'll keep you guys posted on if there are any updates around this. But it certainly looks to me like gamers are taking a stance when it comes to games from Asia and games from the West. When it comes from the United States or, you know, developers in France or Canada or whatever, people are just eyeing the Korean, Chinese, and Japanese games, and they're leaning towards those because it seems like that's the only way we're going to get any kind of quality game that doesn't try to make beautiful women seem like a sin and handsome and strong men seem like a sin. Keep your eyes open, keep your ear to the ground, and we'll see how Mecha Break does in the coming days, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the beta, and that is all I've got for you guys in this video today. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you haven't had the chance to like it and share it with your friends, that would be awesome. And hey, if you're feeling ultra spicy, consider subscribing to my channel so that you're always up to date on what kind of thing I've got going on. I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Later. Meow meow.